Teddy, come on, man. Tell us, you talk a little bit about your journey, or you can just talk about your journey this year. I mean, this is, even the last few years, it's extraordinary. I mean, so take us through your journey, your golf world journey. Because Teddy can play, by the way.
A lot like Frankie, I was on fire with the club cleaning and the towel ball washing, and I pretty much blacked out. I got them all right. So we made 8 birdies, and then he doubled the last hole. So yeah, that's pretty much how it went. That's Caddy Talk 101 for those of you that want to get in the biz. Interesting just to even be back caddying again. 3 years ago, Bubba and I decided to split up, and I was done. I was like, you know what? I'm pretty much had a good career, 22 years caddying, and then I got a phone call, and we were just like, well, let's pray about it. And sure enough, Scottie, was the guy that called, and my family, my wife, my kids, everybody said, yes, you're home too often. Let's get you back out on the road. So yes, I don't know who the guy is, but yes. I'm like, did you pray? You sure? I don't think you prayed, honey. But anyway. So anyway, got the job, and right away it was a lot of fun working for Scottie because he's very dedicated to his craft, and I like to help people, but it's hard to help somebody that's not willing to help themselves. And Bubba had gotten to a point where he'd had enough success, and I think he was just kind of tired of doing the work. And I was tired of going to work whenever there's no let's do this together kind of thing. And so it was fresh with Scottie, and sure enough, just a really hungry guy. He loves to compete. He doesn't care about trophies, money, fame. He just truly wants to beat you at anything: pickleball, ping pong, volleyball, cards. I mean, he just loves competition. And for those of you on this stage, if you want a little secret, don't tell him that I said this, but I think his superpower is he loves competition. He doesn't do it for any other distraction other than he loves the moment of me versus you. Oh, we're coming down the last hole. Let's do this. He loves that. And I think when you learn to enjoy that, you were talking about failing a lot. It was embarrassing. That's something that we all fail in life, right? In every aspect of life. As a parent, as a husband, I fail. As a caddy, sometimes I fail as a driver. I'm looking at my phone and I'm off the road. Whatever it is, right? You fail a lot. And so the problem is we take that baggage with us, right? We carry that forward, and we think, well, I failed before, so I guess that's what I am. And I think, what we should be doing is just enjoying the moment right now. Wow, I get to get up and hit this chip. Yeah, my hands are shaking. I don't chip in front of people. I was trying to kill this young guy right here, with a rubber golf ball. But it was this is fun. This is what I get to do. So that's really where Scottie's at. And that's, last year was just a banner year. I mean, it was amazing.
Let's talk about last year. I mean, really, this is the year since Tigers 2000, right? I mean, it really is. I mean, this is an out of body. He's in the zone, Frankie, the whole year. I mean, take us through any interesting things, and then I must, on a personal level, either now or later, talk about the orange jumpsuit at the PGA. So let's talk a little bit about that too.
So basically, I would say the first part of the year on the West Coast swing, Scottie was very frustrated because he was having the putting woes, and if you don't know it, everybody tells you about it. It's especially when you're playing well, when you're number one in strokes gained every week, you don't have to putt that good and you're in top 5 every week. So it's after every round, man, it could have been a 68, it could have been this, it could have been that. So there was that pressure that he was putting on himself. And then he hired Phil Kenyon, the putting coach. And, actually before the year started, they were working on changing some things. And it finally started to get more comfortable. And I remember there was a transitional point at Bay Hill where he hit one of the worst putts I've probably ever seen him hit. And I was just on the first hole of the tournament, and I was just whoa, this is not good, But he regrouped, and he was all right, I get another chance. That's the cool thing about golf, right? It's all right, here we are again. I sliced the first one out of bounds, but guess what? I get to tee it up, and I get to try this again. So he stepped up on that next one. He's like, come on, just hit a good putt. And that one went in, and it was like you were saying, maybe I can do this, And that started the process of the belief that, man, I am a good putter. And when he won Bay Hill, it was that kind of started, okay, he's won again. When's the last time you won, Scottie? It's been all the way since the Bahamas that you won, it's so easy to win, right? It's so that he kind of lowered that narrative. And then I guess, I don't know if only Tiger had won Bay Hill and the Players, and nobody had won the Players back-to-back, so there was a lot of pressure there. Saturday gets the neck crick, and it just shows how good he is at golf. He's swinging, 60% on Saturday, ends up winning the Players.
He could not turn his head.
Yeah, I called my wife Friday and said, hey, I'm coming home. There's no way he can play tomorrow. I mean, he literally was like 5 degrees. And, but, the fortunate thing is it was 5 degrees this way. He was a little better, so at least he could see the target. If it was 5 degrees that way, I'd be like, aim more left, that's it, bro. Swing hard. It's water on this one. So momentum kind of creates itself. Once you start doing well, like Aaron, talked about, once you start having that success, you start believing it, and then the only thing that can stop you is making raviolis, honestly. So, or the police in Louisville. Those are the two things that can slow you down. So.
Oh, how I wish we had a picture right now we could put up on that screen. But so, quick sidebar note, just out of curiosity, mallet putter, that was a shift. It's a big equipment change. Do you see some pretty good positive shift in that, just from equipment too?
Yeah, so Phil's a very thorough putting coach, and the main reason why they switched to it is because when he set it down, it was aimed where he thought it was aimed. That was it. It wasn't anything to do with how the putter swings or what it looks like. He's pretty much always putted with a blade. It was more, hey, when you're trying to aim right edge and you put this down, it's right edge. So it's like, that's half the battle, right? As you guys know, these guys can stroke the putter. It's if you can get it aimed well and read it well, you got a good chance of making it. So that was really the main purpose behind that.
Well, I remember when Ben Crane, who's been up here too. Ben Crane was, Bad's an unbelievable putter, but Ben was one of the best putters for a number of years, and that's all he ever talked about. He said, I got to get it aimed right, and that was about it. I mean, a good player is already going to understand speed, break, and read, and all that kind of thing. I got to get the putter aimed right, and so. Let's talk about that from your perspective. Are you with him in the car, or is he driving separate from you, headed to the PGA that early kind of rainy morning or whatever it was? Are you in the car with him? I don't even know the end.
No, we were staying at the house together. It was about a mile down the street, and Scottie has a routine of probably like 3 hours before his round starts, where he's got to eat, do therapy, warm up, do a little exercise. So it's like this whole process, right? So he left way before I did, and it was an early morning tee time. And so I woke up probably, 30 minutes after he had left, and I got to my phone, and a buddy of mine texted me, sorry, man. And I said, it's no big deal. My daughter's just graduating. Like, I know it'd be sad, but it's like, I'm happy for her. And he goes, no, man, Scottie. And I said, okay, like, what? And he said, he got arrested, and I just put, ha-ha. And he said, serious? And I thought, okay, I'm going to go to X, Twitter, right? And sure enough, it was like, oh my gosh. And then I looked at another text we had, and this was the really scary part, and the PGA had sent out a group text to everyone saying, there's been a death at the entrance. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Scottie killed someone. Like, not on purpose, obviously.
A lot of people thought that.
I'm putting this together going, wow, he just ran somebody over, and they think I don't know what happened. And I'm just going, my wheels are spinning. And so I just called his wife, called his agent, and just how can I help? How can I get involved? And like everyone else, the story was unfolding, and we didn't know what to expect.
What did Meredith say? I mean,
well, she was like, okay, I'm getting on a plane and coming, because she was in Dallas with their newborn baby. And so she was right away just trying to get on a plane to come, support her man. And meanwhile, the most competitive human being I've ever met was in jail stretching in case he got out to warm up for his round. I'm not joking. He was in jail, and 1 and 2. I'm going to kick Aaron Badley's butt when I get out. So. I'm like, okay, buddy. You might want to think about some other stuff right now. You're in a heap of trouble.
That had to be one of the best rounds of the year, though, seriously. To get through that round?
Yeah, I mean, it was the funniest thing was literally there was a group of people in the 7th hole, like 7 people that had a free Scottie t-shirt on. I was like, how are you, do you own the print shop? I mean, what are we doing here? Like, it's like, how, are you on the 3rd hole? You selling shirts over there? I don't know. It was crazy. It was a crazy day. I mean, I was distracted. I was like, yeah, and Scottie's like, focus. We're trying to beat people. I'm like, oh yeah. And then the next day, I think the prison hangover, I don't know what you call it, but I think it caught up to him the next day because, it was like now you realize like all the adrenaline's worn off. It's not what's going to happen because they rushed him to the course. He had about 20 minutes to warm up, run to the tee, and now you're back in a safe environment. But when you go to bed and all that adrenaline wears off and you start thinking about the magnitude of the situation and what the accusations were against him.
This was not settled just because he got out. I mean, this was...
No, it was a lot. I mean, and he told me, right away what happened, and I was just like, wow, that's crazy, But you never know how it's going to be portrayed in the media. You never know how... if the officer's going to say the truth, if there's body cam footage, if there's other witnesses, so it was kind of, the coolest thing was one of our friends, Pastor Brad Payne, gave him some great counsel, and I thought it was amazing. He said, look, man, do the God thing here. Don't go in the media and blast anyone. Just do the God thing here. And he handled it. If you remember any of his interview, it was pretty amazing how well he handled that interview. And looking back, God's plan is always bigger than your plan, right? And that's hard because what that guy did to him, and I know because I know the story, I know very well how aggressive he was. I mean, he had bruises on his arm. It was crazy, right? For him not to lash out in the media, not to sue, not to pursue that, and let God handle it, really showed the glory of God in a way that I couldn't see at that moment.
Profoundly. I mean, profoundly. I will never forget seeing him in that jumpsuit, and it was shocking the second I saw it, and I go, Identity Sports gonna have to pull all that stuff off because off the web, the YouTube site, and everything.
Yeah, and then Ricky Fowler dressed up as him on Sunday at the PGA. It's weird.
Oh, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. You could not even possibly. If you guys sit down and said, okay, we're gonna make the most ridiculous, we're gonna write the narrative of 2024, and we're going to do it's going to be the stupidest thing we're going to win here and here and here, and we're going to get thrown in jail and barely make it to the tee. And you could not, as you look back at the journey of 2024, what stands out? Is there a standout to you, Teddy, from your perspective?
Yeah, once again, I think it's just the amazing ability that Scottie has to stay right here, right now. Even looking back, it's like a month later, other than other people joking about him going to prison, it's like, all right, I'm here today. It's a new day, and it's just a really fresh perspective as a human to be able to take that to life, much less as a golfer. Like golf is important, but not as important as taking that attitude to life. And so when I look back on 2024, thinking of all the craziness, the madness, but at the same time, the ability to handle the pressure. You think about winning the Olympics. We're going to play 16 majors before we play in the next Olympics, and he was the guy that everybody was like, he's going to win. He's number one. He's hot. He's winning everything, So there's a lot of pressure and all that and for him to be able to win the gold medal, it's just like, how are you doing this, man? And so you spend enough time with him and you just realize, he doesn't say, hey man, you want to see my gold medal? Check out my Masters jacket. He's just not that guy. He just loves the competition. He loves being present. He literally goes from the course and was like, that was fun. And he's like, food? I love food. And you're like, food? And it's like, oh, there's my baby. There's my sweet wife. Awesome. Oh, have you seen this show? Yeah. You're just like, he's just passionate about life, and I'm trying to learn to be more that way and not get ahead of myself, not live in the past, and just enjoy what God gives you right in front of you, even the trials, So that's what I look back on that year and think of the good, the bad,
That's so
and
good.
it's all good, right?
Yeah,
Romans
it's so
8:28.